far away. You can please unmute yourself.
Brother, we were discussing about how will Master respond to our prayer?
Okay.
An empty heart.
Yes. Okay.
Hello, brother.
Yes.
We have discussed about Artha, Kama, Moksha and Dharma.
Yes. What are they?
ABCD points.
No. What are these four? Artha, Karma, Kama, Dharma, and Moksha. What are they?
Artha means material fulfillment. Kama means sexual desires and passions. Dharma means likes and dislikes, where everything actually first starts there. All the impressions actually accumulate there. And moksha, anyway, liberation. That's a point D. Bedtime prayer will help.
Brother Hari was saying something, right? Please unmute
Those are the
yourself.
desires, brother.
Yes.
Desires.
Those are the four types of desires, what we saw. Yes. Anyone else? Anything else? We saw what is a prayer, isn't it?
What is the definition of prayer?
Yes. We saw what is a prayer, what makes us pray, what are the important factors in a prayer, right? That also we saw. And then we saw the four types of prayers. So today we shall continue with this session, and I will share my screen for that, and I will continue. Is my screen visible to all?
Yes, brother. Yes, brother. It is visible.
So, what is most important in prayer is the question.
Be humble.
Humility.
Our attitude to prayer.
Okay.
Devotion.
Intention, brother.
Intention, yes.
Surrender.
Surrendering.
Bhakti.
Bhakti. Yes.
Interest for others. For us.
Interest to
Yes.
beloved.
So we saw that all these factors, whatever you mentioned, they are all part of they should be incorporated in the prayer. But what the book says, the Heartfulness Way book, as per that, let us see what are the most important factors. Of course, bhakti, surrender, everything is required. But in prayer, our intentions speak much louder than our words. And it is your duty to pray for others, no doubt, but without love, duty is always a burden. So, unless there is love involved, Master says that even the work which you are doing in the office, at your workplace, if love is not involved, then only we feel it as a burden. When love is involved, when you are doing something which you like, which is your passion, then we don't feel it as a burden. The duty becomes enjoyable. So first important thing is our intentions. And let your intentions be for others and include yourself as a mere afterthought. Whether you ask for yourself or for others, asking always requires humility. So this is the most second important part is humility, because when I'm asking from someone, I have to be humble. And our intentions are more important. So if our intentions are right, our prayer becomes very, very potential. If you have any one of you attended recent Daji's live sessions from Noida, see how the master, we have to learn from these sessions how master use prayers, or how they ask us to, what is the power of prayer, we can understand. In Noida, when one of the Abbasis asked Daji that the Abbasi was you can say he was not happy because his wife is not supporting him in practicing Sahajman. He wants to do work for the mission, but he was saying that his wife doesn't support him. So what should I do? Daji said, that is he used these words, that is your problem. I can only pray. Daji said, I can only pray for you. So that is so when Master prays with some intentions, that will be done. But we have to reach that level where our intentions, they turn into reality. So we have to bring up ourselves up to that level. The intentions are very important. Another example I saw is yesterday when Daji conducted sitting from Mathura. There also he said that he was very sad because he said Mathura is a place where a lot of massacre has happened. This is not a place of happiness. And at the end, he asked all the Abbasis to pray for that place. Right? So that is how prayers are important, and that is how our masters use prayers. It is not just our bedtime prayer. Oh Master, thou art the real goal of human life, right? It is not just prayer, is not just about that. If our intentions are good, and if we have developed sufficient sensitivity to understand the other's needs, then we can offer prayers. So now, continuing with this, let us, another question for you. How do we know what to pray for? Anyone?
When we feel it is not in our human realm, whatever thing for others, then we.
Okay. So you mean after we have exhausted all our efforts, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So in the last session, you shared the Chariji's.
Yeah.
So that should be the last realm for the strong and the first for the weak. And
Yes.
something which we feel from our heart is what we should pray for.
Okay. Anyone else? So it is not just about me. When your heart is sensitized, it becomes responsive to the true needs of others. Only love can make it possible. With the two qualities of love and tolerance, your heart will intuit your prayers in the most natural way. So again, coming back to these two examples which I told you about the Abbasi who had a problem and about Mathura also. So when our heart is sensitized enough, and when we have these qualities of quality, especially the quality of love, then we begin to realize the problems of others also. We become compassionate. And when we have compassion, then we can understand the troubles of others and we can offer the prayers for them. We begin to offer prayers for them. In fact, we offer prayer even for someone who has done me harm. Because in last chapter, we have seen that if someone doesn't treat us properly, then they are actually doing us a favor by helping us remove our samskaras through bhoga. So we offer prayers for such people also. Now, how to pray? So here important thing is prayer should not become a ritual. It is not like how every day I brush my teeth, right? Or every day after coming home, I wash my hands and feet. So prayer should not become a ritual. An effective prayer is one in which the words reverberate with heart's feelings. So feelings are more important. Prayer is only the first step, but it must mature into prayerfulness. Else we are like adults who still rely on stencils to write the alphabet. This is what Daji says. So here, what is most important? The feelings. And why feelings? I think many of you know how this, who has given us this prayer?
Babuji.
Babuji.
Vivekananda.
Vivekananda.
No, sister. The prayer is
Krishna?
It is a word from
Babu,
brighter world.
Babuji,
Also.
Babuji,
Yes.
Babuji.
Yes, the prayer is given by Babuji, but do you know how he got this prayer? He has received this prayer in a super conscious state.
Okay.
He has received this prayer in the form of vibrations. And these vibrations get translated into feelings, and those feelings generate the words. That is how this feeling has come. So when we offer this prayer, we have to follow the reverse path. When we are offering these words, we have to offer this with such intentions, such love, and such devotion that the words have to generate feelings. And those feelings have to generate the vibrations in our heart. So when we are offering this prayer, we have to traverse this reverse path, that our words should get translated into feelings. And feelings should reverberate into vibrations. So that is how we have to offer this prayer. So after talking in general about prayer, now we are coming slowly towards the heartfulness prayer. So when we come to the heartfulness prayer, first I would like to ask you, when do we offer this prayer?
Bedtime and the early mornings.
Early morning
Once before morning meditation and at
and
bedtime.
bedtime.
2 to 3 times.
What is the difference when we offer during bedtime and when we offer it in the morning?
Brother, in the morning we just pray it once, but in the night we can pray it 2-3 times.
Morning, yeah.
Okay. So is it sufficient?
Morning only one time
Morning
before we
only
start
one.
meditation.
Okay.
Morning is for invocation.
Night 2, 3, couple of times. Night couple of times.
At night, we have to meditate on the meaning of the
And
prayer
meditate on the
and
meaning.
get immersed
Yes.
in
Brother,
the feeling.
what happens is we will have
the-
that 24/7 cycle. Like, in the night, throughout the night also, we will be in that prayerful meditative state. And then as soon as we wake up also, we will meditate. So it creates that entire full cycle. So that's why we have to meditate morning and evening.
Yes. So the
in
main
the
purpose is to
in the
stay.
night prayer, I think we have to pray and tell to the God, saying that please excuse us for all the mistakes that I have committed, and please give me the strength to see that I don't redo this same mistakes again. I think that is one of the
That is
important.
another prayer which we are talking about. But as you said rightly, that the night during bedtime, it is not just sufficient to repeat it 3 times. It should not be a ritual just now we saw. We have to go to sleep meditating on the meaning of that prayer so that it leads to a prayerful state. And that state remains in our subconscious mind throughout the day. And in the morning, when we offer it just once, it acts like a switch to bring back that prayerful state from subconscious mind to in our conscious mind, and which helps us stay connected to the divinity throughout 24 hours. So let us now read this prayer. O Master, thou art the real goal of human life. We are yet but slaves of our wishes, putting bar to our advancement. Thou art the only God and power to bring us up to that stage. So I think most of you know what this prayer is. We have been offering this prayer day in and day out, right? So there is, I'm very sure that by now, all of you have by-hearted this prayer. It has become part of you. But let us try to understand what is the meaning of each one, each line if we take. And if we try to understand the meaning, it is very easy to remember this prayer, especially if you are explaining it to a new seeker. How to remember this prayer? I have found it becomes very easy to remember this prayer if we analyze it and see that all the three lines, this prayer consists of three lines. All the three lines are about our goal. In the first line, we state what is our goal. In the second line, we are stating what are the obstacles. We are reminding ourselves what are the obstacles to achieve that goal. And third line states what is required to achieve that goal. I'll repeat once again. In the first line, we state what is the goal. In the second line, we are stating what are the obstacles to achieve that goal. And in the third line, what is required to achieve that goal. So one by one, when we see, here when we say, "Oh Master, thou art the real goal of human life." So here every day we are reminding ourselves what is the real goal of human life. So let us try to understand in detail the meaning of this. What do you mean by, "Oh Master"? To whom are we offering?
To
To
God,
whom do we offer
God,
when we say, "Oh Master"?
to the
our
ultimate.
inner self,
The source.
Okay,
master also, master,
to
our
the Master. Okay,
Our soul,
Divinity.
Master. Our soul.
our soul. Okay,
The master
soul,
inside.
source,
Living master.
to the
our
living
self
Master.
with a capital S.
Divinity in us. Represent.
Okay, okay.
To the divine.
Divine within us.
Okay.
Divinity in us.
Thank you. See, initially when we start the new seekers, for a new seeker who have not yet had any experience with the Master, so when we start our practice newly, that time when we say, "Oh Master," we are referring to the God or the divinity. But as we progress in our spiritual journey, we come to a stage where we realize that the Guru is the manifestation of that divinity. He is not different. Or the Master within, and what the living Guru, he is just a reflection of my Master within. So when we realize this through practice, then that time when we offer this prayer, so automatically that "Oh Master" refers to our Master, the living Master. But it should not be forceful. It should be, through your practice, we have to realize that the living Guru or the Master is nothing but it is a reflection of my inner Master. And it is a reflection of that divinity. He is not different. Right? Now, why is the word used here? Thou art the real goal of human life. Why not only the goal of my life, goal of human life?
Because
We have
goals
many
will
goals.
be
Please,
because
one at a time.
goals will be many.
Hmm.
So those are the goals which our mind is telling us this is the goal, this is the goal. But in reality, for a for the entire human life, it is the inner self that is our goal. Means like
Because our goals keep on changing at each stage of our life.
Yeah.
Therefore, we have to keep one goal which should be a constant or a permanent one.
Very nice. Yes.
Only through the human life is where we can achieve or we can merge with the source. the animals or a rest of them, like they don't have this, the faculties available for them. So that is why we mention it as the human's life main goal is to merge with the source.
Okay. Brother Karthik?
Hello, brother. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Yes.
Actually, the real goal is mergence with master. So I think that's why though are the real goal of human life.
Okay. See here, we are using the word real goal. My understanding, I am telling you that because we have a lot of other goals also. There are a lot of mundane goals we have. I have certain goals for my family also. I have certain goals for my related to my profession also. Because without goals, we cannot progress, right? In our profession as well. So we may be having lot of other goals, but Allah, and especially, Sahaj Mark, we always say that our spiritual and material life has to be integrated. It has to go side by side. So we cannot compromise or we cannot neglect or ignore our goals in our material life also. So those are your mundane goals. But here we use the word real goal because when we are chasing all these other goals, every day we have to remind ourselves that that is the real goal. Realizing that master. So when we say thou art the real goal of human life, we are not asking anything from him. It has many meanings. One meaning is when I say my goal, let us say now who is your ideal? Let us say my ideal is Narendra Modi. And if I say Narendra Modi is my goal, what does it mean when you say Narendra Modi is my goal?
Like him. I want to
Yes,
become like him.
exactly. So you want to become like him. You want to acquire the qualities. So when we say that thou art the real goal of human life, we have to become like him. We have to try to acquire all the qualities which he has. That is one meaning. And second meaning, when we say he is the real goal of life, means we want to realize by removing all the ignorance, we want to realize what is real master. And why we are saying here goal of human life and not only my life? Because this prayer is not about me. We are praying for the entire humanity. So nowhere in this prayer the word I comes. Everywhere it is we or us. So even in the first line when we say goal of human life, it means this we are offering this prayer for the entire humanity. Right? When we take the second line, it says what are the obstacles to achieve the goal. Okay, first line we reminded ourselves what is our goal. Now in the second line, we state the fact. We try to take the stock of the situation in this journey of achieving that goal. Where do I stand today? What are the obstacles to achieve the goal?
Samskara.
We are yet
Yeah.
but the slaves of our wishes. So our wishes or desires are the obstacles to achieve the goal. Now here also many times we get questions from youngsters that if I don't have desires, then how will we progress in life? Right? That question many youngsters ask us, especially heartfulness trainers when they are conducting sessions for new seekers. This is a very common question we get, that if we don't have desires, how can you say we should not have desires? So if you remember last session, Dr. Raghu, he mentioned this, that anything we are doing to carry out our duty, they are not considered as desires. So even when I am taking care of my family, my children, if my attitude is that these are the children of my master, I am only their custodian. And it is my duty to take care of them. So then when I'm taking care of them, whatever is required to be done. So having a desire that my son or daughter should get good education, that cannot be, that is all right. So we have to understand here the difference between wants and needs. So needs are limited, but wants are unlimited. They are never ending. Another example I would like to give is today, a mobile phone has become a necessity for communication. But so having a mobile phone or having a wish to acquire a mobile phone is not bad. But I want iPhone 15 only or iPhone 16 only. Then that becomes a want. It is no more a need. So this we have to understand when we say that we are yet but slaves of our wishes, putting bar to our advancement. So we have to remind ourselves every day that our desires, the more the desires, longer will be the journey. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that as long as there are desires, you will get caught in this cycle of birth and death. The third line says, what is required to achieve that goal? Thou art the only God and power to bring us up to that stage, we are saying. So what are we saying here? What is required to achieve the goal? Total surrender. I cannot reach that goal. Without your help, it is not possible. So here we have to totally surrender ourselves. That bhava of surrender has to be there. That master, without your help, it is not possible. And that I-ness, we have to drop that I-ness and totally surrender. So this is the meaning of these three lines. So now I would like to play a video to understand directly from horse's mouth, right? So let us see. If you don't hear the sound of the video, please tell me. First I will play.
प्रार्थना में हम कुछ मांगना नहीं चाहते कि ईश्वर मुझे ये दे या वो दे। हमारे लिए ईश्वर वही है कि जो ईश्वर का अंश है, वही ईश्वर का अंश हमारे अंदर है, जिसको हम आत्मन कहते हैं। उनकी वजह से अपनी गाड़ी चलती रहती है। यदि हम प्रार्थना करेंगे किसी और को तो उचित नहीं होगा। जब हम प्रार्थना करते हैं मालिक, तो मालिक तो अंदर है। तू ही मेरा ध्येय है, ईश्वर ही मेरा ध्येय है। आध्यात्मिकता में इसके अलावा और ध्येय क्या हो सकता है? और उनकी प्राप्ति में हमारा बंधन क्या है? क्या हमें रोकता है? कौन सी चीज़ ऐसी है दुनिया में जो हमें आत्ममिलन में रुकावट बन जाता है? उसको पहचानना है, हो सके तो उसको निकालना है। लेकिन कई बार ऐसी सिचुएशन आ जाती है जिंदगी में कि हम कुछ नहीं कर पाते हैं। तो इसलिए हम पीड़ित होके, याचित होके, हेल्पलेस होके हम प्रार्थना करते हैं कि हे मालिक, तू ही मेरा ध्येय है। हमारे में जो कुछ अड़चन है, ये कुछ जो हमें रोक रही है, उसको निकालना है। प्लीज़ उसको निकालो। आपके बिना ये कोई कर नहीं सकता है। तो यही भाव से हमें ईश्वर की ओर अपना मोड़ झुकाना है, अपना हृदय को भी झुकाना है। ये प्रार्थना हम जब सुबह उठ जाते हैं या रात के सोने के समय या ध्यान करने के समय या कोई खास करके इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ हुए, तब हम प्रार्थना कर सकते हैं।
So did you see what Master said? That this is not just at the bedtime and in the morning. At other times also we can offer this prayer. And we will see now what is the significance of offering this prayer at bedtime. Why it is only at the bedtime and not before cleaning or in the evening? Can anyone share?
Because at one in the bedtime, we go to that supplicant mood, and with that feeling, we do the prayer. And as in the previous slides, it was mentioned, we get into the prayerful state, which then turns into a meditation. And in that meditation, we sleep, and where we would have already analyzed and we would have probably acknowledged that these are something which is an impediment, okay, where wrongful doings. So that's the time where we get into that sleep state where master works in, and then we get rid of those subconscious tendencies and challenges.
Yes, very nice, brother. So now we will see what is the significance of that. See, during waking hours, what happens is our intellect dominates. Okay. And just before bedtime, we become highly susceptible to suggestion because we enter an alpha state. Please note that slide, there is a misspelling. It should be ALPHA. So it's not aloha, it is alpha state. So our brain enters into alpha state where it is where we are into highly susceptible, we become highly susceptible to suggestions. And generally, just before we go to sleep in the last 5 minutes, whatever we hear or see, it tends to remain in our subconscious mind throughout the night. So it is very important that just before going to sleep, we should not watch any television or any disturbing news, right? Or reels or anything like that, because that will affect our entire night. It will remain, traces will remain in our subconscious mind. So instead of sowing negative things into our subconscious mind during such a sensitive state of our mind, it is better that we go on remunerating over the meaning of this prayer, so that in this alpha state, when we offer this prayer, it acts like seeds, and the prayerfulness, it grows in the obscurity of our subconsciousness. Just like seeds grow beneath the ground without our notice, the same way, when we offer this prayer at bedtime, it grows throughout the night. The prayerful state is developed and it turns into a meditation. So that is the significance of offering this prayer at bedtime. But Master also says that one problem with offering the prayer at bedtime is we are little bit feeling sleepy. Our mind is not very active. So it is difficult to get that feeling. So he says that we should practice this prayer during daytime also when we are still alert. So that at the at bedtime when we offer this prayer, it becomes very easy for us to get those feelings. The next is,
Brother, I think what was summarized in the previous slide is what Master calls it as Turiya state, right?
I'm not very sure about that, brother. You mean the alpha state?
Yeah, the state where I think just before going to bed, just immediately after sleeping, where it takes all those suggestions and so on. So he calls it as Turiya, is what I remember in some video.
I'm not very sure about that. Because what is Turiya I know, but I'm not very sure whether we can call this state as a Turiya state. Anyone wants to share?
Turiya state is where we are completely aware. So this is not, that is what I feel.
Yes. Well, even I feel the same.
It is actually beyond all the three states. This was also one of Dr. Raghu's
Turiya, exactly.
explanation I heard.
We have sleeping state, deep sleep, and dream. Okay. So Turiya is beyond all the three states. Now, how does bedtime prayer help in our morning meditation? Next question.
It prepares us for the morning meditation. It is the preparation for the morning meditation, brother.
Okay. Yes.
It connects, brother. Connects for the morning meditation.
Reconnect ourselves.
Like a switch, brother.
Like a switch, yes.
A prayerful state, a prayerful state in the night is easy to transform into a meditative state in the morning. That's the reason why.
Very nice, brother.
It is like coal lit in the night, and throughout the night the coal is burning, and the next day morning, with just a blow, it again turns back into fire.
Very good example. Very nice example, brother.
This is how Chariji refers to bedtime prayer.
Bedtime prayer, during bedtime prayer, the prayer we remind to ourselves, and in morning meditation, we pray to Master or God.
I didn't get you, brother.
Brother, in the bedtime prayer, we remind by telling the prayer, we remind to ourselves. And during meditation, we pray to our Master or our God.
Not really, isn't it? So let us see now. The bedtime prayer creates a prayerful state that we have seen, filled with anticipation to unite with the source. So it develops an anticipation. We look forward to the morning meditation. And this anticipation goes on swelling throughout the night. It goes on developing. And by morning, we approach our meditation with joy because we are waiting for it. Subconsciously, we are waiting for it throughout the night. And this helps us to draw us deeper into the meditation. Right? So that is how the bedtime prayer helps us in our morning meditation. Now, why offer the prayer only once in the morning? Why don't we repeat it? I think already the answer was given. Yes.
Switch, yeah.
Yeah, it just acts just a whip is sufficient, right? So It is like just a switch to bring back that prayerful state from our subconscious mind to conscious mind. So what is beyond prayerfulness? Okay, we saw that when we offer this bedtime prayer, it has to transform into prayerfulness. What is beyond prayerfulness?
Meditation.
Yes. Meditation or oneness. So prayer should be offered in such a way that it transforms into meditation. So now, this is about the meditation. This is about our bedtime prayer we studied. Now, which is another next prayer we do in our Sajmar practice? Universal prayer, right? The 9 o'clock prayer. Can anyone tell me what is this prayer?
All brothers and sisters are being filled with love and devotion, and this real faith is growing stronger.
Every brother and sister have right thinking, correct understanding, honest approach to life.
That is one of the suggestions. Yes. And when do we offer this? When are we supposed to offer this?
9 o'clock at night.
9 o'clock.
9 p.m.
Yes. So if you see at 9 p.m. sharp, every Abbasi, as per the local time, should stop their work and meditate for 15 minutes, thinking that all brothers and sisters are being filled with love and devotion, and that real faith is going stronger in them. It shall be of immense value to them, which only their practical experience shall reveal. So we offer this prayer for all the brothers and sisters, again for the entire humanity. Here, brothers and sisters doesn't mean only our Abbasi brothers and sisters. It is for the entire humanity, for my society, for my country, for the entire world. Now, can anyone tell me what is the significance of this prayer? Why do we do this?
So I think in one of the videos, there is a message where it says, with these intentions, if we do the prayer, where Master gives an example of somebody in ICU, and when you do the prayer, the vibrations were kind of measured in the relevant equipment, right? So similarly, this goes to the cosmos and then multiplies and comes back, and then it gets into a kind of cycle. So when everyone does it at 9 p.m. across the globe, at each time somebody or the other is in that prayer, and it just kind of changes the vibrations around the entire existence.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Done more for
Oneness,
others
brother.
than ourselves.
One at a time, please.
It is done for the spiritual upliftment of the entire humankind.
Why are we bothered about others? Why are we bothered about spiritual upliftment of the other mankind?
Can't
We're part of the same system.
alone,
To
brother.
become selfless.
Selfishness will not take us anywhere. It is only the selflessness and praying for others is the one which is going to be of great benefit as a prayer.
I would like to show you, yes.
To be part of nature
Sister
to
Anuradha.
help evolution.
Brother, our all souls are connected. So when we pray for others, we are also included in that.
Yes, very true, sister. So I would like to play you an audio clip where Chariji explains the significance of this universal prayer. So I will play that audio clip. Please listen carefully.
The 9 o'clock prayer, meditation, whatever you call it, is a general one for welfare of others than ourselves. I think it introduces at a certain stage of our evolution a concern for general well-being. Sometimes you have seen that if you are living in a good neighborhood and suddenly people start moving out and then a different sort of people start coming in, you feel the pressure of a different environment. Maybe better, maybe less. We don't qualify it in the sense of attributing a quality to it. Similarly, a rich man, living in a slum is always the target of attack. Therefore, people like to sort of get together, the herd instinct. It is no less in spirituality. Though, you must always remember that a light shines brightest when it is darkest. In spirituality, we don't accept this nonsense of being together with your own sort of people so that you can have the company that you desire, which will promote your welfare, which will promote your growth. That is strictly an obstinate way of thinking. Nevertheless, it is still a fact that unless everybody grows, you don't grow too much in any case. It is not that you cannot grow because they don't grow. It is perhaps a limitation on your own growth that you don't think of others. Even spirituality, even spiritual growth, even spiritual evolution could perhaps self-centeredness if we don't think of others. So I think it is in that context that we have to broaden our outlook and embrace all the Abhyasis, brothers and sisters, eventually all the human beings, in one vast embrace of love. That it is not enough if I grow, you must grow too. I draw your attention to Buddha's famous statement, you see. After he attained Mahaparinirvana, as they call it, the highest level open to the Buddhists, he said, I shall not leave this world till the last human being has been liberated. So, presumably he is somewhere around. So that is the sort of concern that we as human beings, evolved human beings, because we have, I hope, hopefully,
Okay, thanks.
So here you saw Chariji himself explaining what is the purpose of this, and a beautiful example he has given that a rich man staying in a slum will not be safe for a longer time, right? So let us try to understand the essence of his talk. The next kind of prayer we have already discussed in last two sessions. Some of the people have already mentioned about this, is praying for forgiveness, right? When do we do this and why do we do this?
At bedtime, we'll pray in a supplicant mood.
Yes, Brother Hari. You are muted.
When we pray for forgiveness, we will be first accepting ourselves completely with all our pluses and minuses. So self-acceptance will come into picture, and then we will be able to sit and then do the meditation and receive His grace.
Right. Sister Ashwini?
Yeah, prayer for forgiveness, like it is the point D, the guilt. The guilt is the heaviest, And even Master says that Master also can't clean that guilt. So we have to pray for forgiveness. We have to cry it out from the bottom of the heart and request for forgiveness. And it is not just forgiveness, but we should also tell that we will not repeat that again. So only then that guilt will go.
Yes, thank you, sister. Very important. That is, guilt is the heaviest of all samskaras, right?
Forgiveness is the first, first stage is actually acceptance. Then we ask for forgiveness. And that is a process of asking for correction of our mistakes.
Thank you, brother. So, we know that guilt is utterly destructive. It is like lead in the heart and the most difficult samskara to remove. And that is why this practice has been suggested that in a supplicant mood, before going to sleep, we should beg. Here, the word beg is very important. We should beg for forgiveness and resolve not to repeat our mistakes. So, here, what is needed is a mixture of introspection and surrender. So, unless we do our introspection, I will not know that I am guilty or I have done something wrong. If we don't do introspection, how will we know that? And if we don't know that we have done something wrong, how will we pray for it? Right? So it says that a fool recognizes a mistake in retrospect, and an intelligent person recognizes it during the act, but a wise person knows beforehand and avoids it. So the best solution, rather than first making a mistake, feeling guilty, and then begging for prayerfulness, the first thing is, in the first place, we should avoid making the mistakes. See, these are the three type of people. The fool recognizes the mistake after he has done the act. And maybe after some time when he thinks about it or someone else tells him that he has done a mistake, then he realizes. Whereas an intelligent person, when he is doing something wrong, at least that time he recognizes that, okay, I'm doing, but still he goes ahead with that. But a wise person knows beforehand and avoids it. So how do we develop this quality? How do we avoid making the mistake in the first place?
Pause.
Okay, one option is power of pause. Second,
always in constant remembrance. Think that it's master who is doing. Think master will do, or currently it is master in action.
Okay. Brother Hari?
Being aware. Being aware.
Being aware. Okay.
If we meditate regularly, then that quality will develop in us, that whenever any circumstances come, then we will be aware beforehand that we are getting angry or we are going to commit a mistake. Then we can take the remedial action.
Okay.
Cleaning,
I'm
brother.
still
Can do
okay.
clean.
Cleaning, okay. But still I'm looking for one particular answer, which
Like
we already discussed.
we feel uncomfortable if we are.
Listening to the heart suggestion, brother.
Yes, that is the answer I was looking for. Listening to the heart. We have to develop the ability to listen to our heart, and that we have discussed quite in length what it means. That whenever we are doing something right, the heart stays quiet. But whenever we are doing something wrong, our heart definitely gives us signals. So when we learn to listen to our heart, there will be no need for begging for forgiveness from our mistakes, or at least that need will be reduced. I'm not saying that we will not make the mistakes, but once in a while. But as far as possible, we can avoid making mistakes in the first place. Now, there is one more video, but it is not related to the topic anyway. I will share that video later in the group. So because we are falling short of time for question and answers, I will skip this and I will share the video for you. But I would like you to just try these answers now. Just 5 minutes. I'll give you exactly 5 minutes. First is prayer is spirituality's beating dash dash dash.
Beating heart.
Sister, don't tell me the answer. Just write it and then you compare. You don't have to tell me the answers. Please write it down. Please write in your notebooks. Buddha's idea was if you could cut dash dash and dash dash, all our fantasies of God would disappear in one stroke.
Would cut fear and desires.
Please, brother, please don't announce the answers. I'm not asking you to give the answers. I'm just asking you to write down in your notebook. Let everyone, we will give chance to everyone to participate in this.
Sir,
Third is,
please repeat the question.
Buddha's idea was if you could cut dash dash and dash dash, that is, if you cut these two things, all our fantasies of God would disappear in one stroke. Third question, to have a vacuum in the heart is good, but only if the heart is oriented toward the dash dash dash. Don't announce the answers, please. I repeat, to have a vacuum in the heart is good, but only if the heart is oriented towards the dash dash dash. Next is, guilt only comes when we have been dash dash dash. Guilt only comes when we have been dash dash dash. The next one, love all and dash dash none. Just write down love all and dash dash none. The sixth one is duty without love makes us dash dash dash. Duty without love makes us dash dash dash. And the last one is guilt is like dash dash in the heart. So I suppose most of you must have already written the answers. Am I right? Have you people written the answers?
Yes.
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 Okay. So now you can compare your answers. Prayer is spirituality's beating heart. Buddha's idea was if you could cut fears and desires, all our fantasies of God would disappear in one stroke. To have a vacuum in the heart is good, but only if the heart is oriented towards the higher. Guilt only comes when we have been selfish. Love all and hurt none. Duty without love makes us slaves. And guilt is like lead in the heart. So with that, we come to the end of this chapter on the prayer. And now we will open the session for any questions. Dr. Raghu, are you there?
I'm just listening to everything.
We'll take up any questions if you have any. It's very good to see even till the end we have 116 participants. Yes, Doctor. Yes, Brother Ananta.
This is a question about this word master in the prayer.
Okay.
And you talked about that. I think Daji says in some, I don't know if I heard him or somewhere he says that master is definitely referring to God.
Yes.
And you said something interesting that, as you progress, you will realize that what living master is a reflection of that divinity. I think I don't know if I'm using the same words, but right.
Yes,
word,
yes, yes.
right? That's, I mean, how does that feeling come about, I guess, right? I
See,
find
it is,
myself, I'm still not there, right?
okay.
Yeah.
It is his humility. Okay. It is master's humility when they say, how can you say that? Consider me as, when we say, oh master, our masters never consider themselves as master. Right? So as far as my understanding goes, it is just his humility. In his humility, he says that refer to the God when you say master.
So sorry, if I can just follow, it's the same thing. So did Daji see Babuji as God?
I think so. Definitely. I think so. Okay. Brother Raghu, would you like to add anything?
It's a very interesting question because this is a point that has been discussed multiple times over. With every batch, we had these questions about our master. Remember, as we progress in spirituality, the way that we relate to the master keeps evolving. So, if you ask a person who has just started meditation to relate to the master as the living master, as God, that Daji says that just like blasphemy. You are not supposed to do that. In fact, our interest or orientation towards the master becomes more stronger by the time we come to the fourth point. Up to the fourth point, we go through some experiences in meditation, but we are not so curious about who is the giver of this particular experiences, the conditions that we get in meditation. The seed of humility is there in the fourth point. Only after having had substantial experience in the first 3 points, then in the fourth point, as and when our connection with the master deepens, there is some curiosity regarding who is the giver of these conditions. But even at that time, we don't take the master as God or anything like that. So he's still like, because see, remember in the fourth point, we still have body attachment. It's only after we cross the fifth point that the body attachment substantially comes down. Now, that is why it is called as a Pind Pradesh. Pind means body, where there is a very strong attachment to the body. A region where there is a very strong attachment of the eye to the body is the Pind Pradesh. As we cross from the Pind Pradesh into the mind region, the hold of this idea of the master being in the body kind of loosens because our own identification with our own body. Remember, the journey within is what we actually experience the journey without. They both go hand in hand. When our identification with the I-ness actually comes down with the body, then we don't view the master also now as just a physical person. That changes. But then, even then, there's no question of any surrender or anything of that kind. We still continue to progress in the same way and we continue to relate to the master as like any other human master that we take. Also, we might give him now a bit more special capabilities that he can work on our spiritual issues. By the time we come to the eighth point, we gradually have so much experience of the conditions, not only in the Pinda Pradesh, but also outside the identification of the body, that we now start gradually aligning to the master at the realm of the mind now. As we journey in the mind region, our way of relating to the master also now deepens to something more substantial than just the body. When that takes hold of our system, then we become convinced about master's capabilities or powers to actually help resolve many of the issues that we face in our spiritual journey. And then once we become aware of those capabilities or powers, we actually start surrendering to the master. So that happens at around the eighth point. So you can say that the seed of humility started at the fourth point, but at the eighth point, the humility has grown to such an extent that we are now aware of the master's extraordinary powers in being able to manage our spiritual journey. So we become more and more convinced based on our own experience. Then as we go further from the eighth point, then there is the aspect of soul replication in the ninth point. And then that will further convince us about the capabilities of the master, the living master. And we further grow. And now that the surrender now further deepens, where we are not aware of the surrender at all, we now become insignificant in front of the master. Then we further mature in such a way that by the time we come to the 12th point, we are like humility personified. Now, as you look at this particular phenomenon of journey, our relationship with the master also grows. So how we view the master or how we relate to the master depends on how we actually relate to our own self. As and when we change internally, the way that we relate to the master externally also changes. At some point of time, we start interiorizing the master. It starts at the fourth point itself. Once we become convinced about the master, we start interiorizing the master gradually. Now, there was this question about O Master being referred to God or the living Master. This question was asked to Babuji. Did Babuji view Lalaji as God? And Babuji says, my master was all in all for me. It was my master who came and helped me throughout my spiritual journey. It was he who had held me, and it is he who is actually taking me to wherever I have reached. And it is he who is still keeping me in this journey. Now, I never had any concern about God at all in my journey. It is my master's blessings that we got to know about the ultimate, and we developed that relationship with the ultimate. Now, when God did not have practically any role to play in my life, how can I relate to God at all? Virtually, practically, God was not there at any point of journey in my life. It was Master alone who was there throughout the journey. So, the thing about Master and the God, if you look at the third line of the prayer, it says, Thou art the only God and power to bring us up to that stage. So, there are two words there. There is a God and there is a power. So, if you look at God as the center itself is powerless. The center cannot actually induce changes in you. Just outside the center is the kshob, the area of the kshob. And that is where the power starts. The manifestation of the power starts. So you require both, so to say. In other words, you require the master who is in alignment with the God, but the master with the human body and the mind has the capability of utilizing that power and actually inducing the changes in us. At the highest level, master is like, we had this discussion, I think, in one of the groups. Who is more powerful, God or master? In some ways,
Master.
God does not have mind nor the body to be able to execute what he is supposed to execute. But humans or human beings who have now aligned with the center have not only got that power, but they also have the means to actually utilize the power for the journey of the abhyasis. So in that way, you can say it's like who is bigger or who is more powerful? Is it the devotee or the God itself? It's always the devotee who is more powerful than God. Many of the things that Hanuman did, Rama could not have done. Right? So it's a very simple fact, even if you just go by our own mythological or epics that we have. So what Hanuman could do in the name of Rama, Rama himself could not do. How many times he actually saves Rama and Lakshmana throughout their life. So in other words, the power actually of Rama manifests through Hanuman. Very similarly, the power of the center manifests through the human frame, and that is our living master. So the difference between the living master and the center is just but nominal for all practical purpose, except that the living master has this human tinge. That being the case, apart from that, there is no difference. Now, when we realize that at that stage, then the O Master that you utter in the prayer now takes on a different view. At that stage, you look at Master as an epitome of the ultimate itself. But then these are all experiential things that has to come on its own over a period of time. So when we use the word O Master, generally it is always safer to allow that idea of the master to evolve as the abhyasi progresses. When we impose a particular idea of the master, this or that might not be the best thing to do. It might be best to allow the evolution of the idea of what this O master means. So each one passes through in different speeds, in different stages, and that is the journey. See, suppose people go for a race, a journey from say Bangalore to Mysore. They all run in parallel with one another. Do you think that there is any fun in it? There is no fun at all. Nobody will enjoy the journey. But if they go from Bangalore to Mysore, one goes forward and then one goes behind, and then the other one overtakes and then goes forward, and the other one goes behind. So there is this up and down situation that actually keeps that enthusiasm and the interest going. Very similar will be the kind of idea. Many of these ideas, so there are around 8 or 9 ideas that we keep evolving until unless we all reach the same answer in the end. In spirituality, there are 8 or 9 topics like that. So mastery is one topic where our idea about the master keeps evolving as we grow. Okay. Now there are other 8 topics that you also need to remember. Our idea about our own human body will change. Our idea about mind will change. Our idea about the soul will change. Our idea about nature will change. Our idea about life will change. Our idea about God will change. Our idea about master will change, and our idea about interpersonal interactions will change. And our idea about love changes. So these are the 9 aspects, the ideas about which we change as we progress in meditation towards the center. So it's a very dynamic journey, so to say, because some people might evolve in certain ideas faster than the others. So you cannot have one parameter in which we can actually say that this person is progressing in this way or that way. So there are multiple parameters in which we can progress, and it's important to keep track of all those things. So when you write the diary, so whatever 9 points that we have spoken, no, you just keep track of that in your diary. Because ultimately, when we reach the center, we all will have the same answers to all these 9 issues. And that's the beauty of it. We might start anywhere, but ultimate answers will be the same for everyone. Now, when we start hitting that ultimate answers in any of these things, that means the spirituality is now taking hold of your system gradually. Okay, so it is unique also for each one of us. It is dynamic also. It is dynamic in the sense that there are 9 topics in which we all change. But at the same time, there are also some commonalities in those changes until we actually hit that final mark, so to say. So, for example, if everyone takes out of out in all the 6 subjects that they give exams, we can say that the entire class hit the mark, has hit the mark. Likewise, if all of us hit the same answers, that means we have reached. That is the best answer that spirituality can give you. And generally, you cannot go beyond that as far as spiritual answers are concerned. Each one has to evolve in their own way. And our job is to look at ourselves regarding how we are evolving with respect to each of these 9 ideas. So it's a very, very dynamic journey. Please keep that in mind. Okay. Girish Babu.
Thank you, brother.
This is regarding consciousness, brother. Can I ask a question? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why and how consciousness will expand in meditation? Is it due to transmission? Just I'm asking. And how can we put our effort in expanding more? Actually, how to improve the consciousness? That is one question. And the 2 are there. Afterwards, I'll.
There are a easy way of answering. There is a long way of answering. Easy way of answering is that you will have to read through the expansion of consciousness collector's edition 2017 or 18. Collector's edition is there. It is also part of your syllabus for exams.
Okay.
It will come in as an attachment in the modules later on. So when you start with the modules, no,
okay,
you have to go through that particular exercise, evolution of consciousness. Okay. So that entire book you will have to study. I think you probably will get a good, fair amount of idea when you study that. But
little bit, if you can explain.
The entire journey from the first point up to the 13th point is nothing but the journey in the consciousness. Entire journey.
Oh.
From the first point to the 13th point, we all evolve in different levels of subtleties of consciousness. That is what happens. So what is the difference between first point and second point is that the second point of consciousness is more subtle than the first point. So as we go higher and higher, we move towards higher levels of subtlety of the consciousness. Okay. Now, as we enter into the central region, we cross beyond the realm of the consciousness into the realm of the root or the seed of consciousness or the potentiality of the consciousness. That is what happens in the central region. As we proceed through the central region, as we get established ourselves in near the center, in alignment with the center, we cross that root or the potentiality of the consciousness also and establish ourselves beyond the consciousness and beyond the root of the consciousness. That is our final destination. That state where we establish ourselves in near the center is called as the state of the thumb. Not tamassu. It is called as the state of the thumb. What is there? There is a state of fine identity with the total unawareness. Those are the two things that we have at that particular level. Fine identity with the total unawareness. When we enter into the central region, we have grosser identity and we have awareness. One of the things I want you people to learn is to look at the journey, not only from bottom to the top, but also look in the opposite direction, from the top to the bottom. I think that will give you a very, very comprehensive picture regarding how we actually move up and down this ladder. Okay. So that is partly in terms of answer to your question. The basic thing that needs to happen as far as expansion of consciousness is concerned is that you need to get rid of the samskaras. That's the fundamental thing. Without the samskaras being removed substantially, there is no question of expansion of consciousness.
Okay. Okay.
Very, very basic. If the samskaras are still continue to stay there all the time, the consciousness expands very, very slowly. Okay. When the samskaras are removed substantially in the Pinda Pradesh, in fact, since the samskaras are very gross and lot in the Pinda Pradesh, our journey through the Pinda Pradesh is slow. And in the Pinda Pradesh, we don't experience expansion. We only experience movement. Movement is always unidirectional in nature. There is a directional movement. In fact, we proceed zigzag. We start from the first point, go to the second point, and then like a Z, we come across to the third point, and then again horizontally we go to the fourth point. Again like a Z, we go up and then gradually move up like this. That is the journey. But in this entire journey in the Pinda Pradesh, it is just like a unidirectional movement. Now that is the nature of the Atman, unidirectional movement. So we read about Atman having movement and thinking. You remember that?
Yeah, Brahman
When
and
we come to
Atman.
Brahman, we have the movement in terms of expansion. The expansion in the Brahman is multidirectional. It is not unidirectional. And secondly, Brahman has the thinking which is aligned with Viveka, aligned with the discriminatory ability, the Viveka, the discrimination that you develop at the fifth point. So the thinking is fundamentally different between Brahman and Atman. In Atman, you don't have that discriminative ability. All that you have is thinking capability. But when that becomes aligned with Viveka, which is the discriminative faculty, then that becomes the contemplation of Brahman. So there's a very big difference between what Brahman thinks versus what an Atman thinks. Okay. Anyway, that is in terms of the partly also it is related to the consciousness. Why do we start expanding in the sixth point and beyond? It is just that from the sixth point onwards, even the samskaras become very subtle. So when the samskaras become very subtle, it makes it possible for you to expand all around. Okay. So and there are quite a few things about the consciousness that we have to learn. So I've just given you a small glimpse of what are all the possibilities that we have to learn as we go forward. But when we reach there, we will discuss more about it in due course of time. But if you have not collected the collector's edition on evolution of consciousness, I think it's 2017 or 18. I always get confused. Somebody can remind. Is it 17 or 18? It's one of that. Mostly 2018. Just check
18.
that. So it is a December collector's edition.
Heartfulness magazine collector's edition.
So December, generally the December edition has a collector's component to it. So you can just collect that particular book. It's also available online. So if you people don't get it offline, we can actually share it online, and then you can utilize it for your. You can take a printout and utilize it for your examination. Okay, there you will be asked about how does the physical body evolve, how does the mind evolve, or the subtle body evolve, how does the gross body evolve, the causal body evolve. All these questions are actually asked as part of that particular process. Okay, what happens to thinking, what happens to emotions, what happens to ego, all these things are asked in due course of time. Okay, it's a pretty good comprehensive thing, but there are certain areas where you might actually feel that you are not very still clear. So if you can bring that, then we can actually have further discussions about it. Okay.
I have a second question.
May I
Brother,
come in?
second.
1 minute,
Brother?
1 minute. Go ahead, brother Jeevan.
Okay, I just wanted to give a simple example. See, expansion of consciousness is infinite. It can go up to infinite, but at a very, very lower end. I just to give you a small example, it's not nothing to do with spiritual or this thing, but a small example I can give you how we expand our consciousness or our awareness, you can say, is see when I associate myself with my family. Say when I associate myself with say a surname. Now I am cut out. So if I am attending a marriage function and there I have gone with the family, so there I am associating, we are cutouts, right? So I am associating all these only the family members. I feel they are mine, and all others are outsiders. That is the kind of feeling we have. But now come to when you are watching an RCB match, okay? Now your consciousness, you can say, has expanded. Now we look at all are we Kannadigas, right? We belong to Karnataka. So now you don't feel when you are watching a RCB match, you don't feel that they are different. You feel all of us we are same, right? And tomorrow when you are watching a World Cup match, that time we feel our consciousness has further expanded and we are feeling that we all are Indians. That time we don't identify that you are a Tamilian or you are a Kannadiga or I am a Maharashtrian. No, we feel that all are Indians. So like that, the expansion means it can happen like that, and it can reach a level where everything, not just human beings, but everything, plants, flowers, insects, everything is the same. It belongs to me. So that is just I wanted to share.
Okay, thank you. Brother, second question.
1 minute,
Can we?
1 minute. Let us take one question at a time from one person.
Piyush, brother.
Others will not get the chance. Let Piyush finish.
Namaste, brother. My question was in the last line of the prayer, the word only. What is the significance of that, using that word only there, only God and power? Means because we generally say power, I don't know, but generally we say God is like there's one God. So why was it needed to use that word only there?
Because there is only one center, man. There is only one center. See, it is but natural when we think about the God, the way that we have been brought up, especially in our religion, Hindu religion, we have multiplicities of God. The idea of multiplicity is very predominant in our mind. So when we are talking about thou art the only God and power, we are actually emphasizing to the mind about the need to come to that unitary idea of God. God beyond the kind of conceptions that we have been actually exposed to since childhood, where we have multiplicity. In fact, as we go towards spirituality more and more deeper, we actually become more and more aligned to the idea of unity. rather than multiplicity. That's one of the signs of growth in spirituality. And brother was talking about the expansion of consciousness. When we actually come to that stage where we see that everything has come down from the same source, that is when you can say that you have now gone and established beyond the realm of the universal consciousness, where you feel that everything has come down from the same source. Not from a theoretical perspective, but from a practical perspective, you should be able to feel that. Now, when we reach that particular state, we will be able to feel that everything has actually come down from the same source. There again, it's about the idea of brotherhood evolving. The idea of brotherhood comes from the fact that everything that is there in creation has come from the same source. That's where the idea of brotherhood comes. Initially, we talk about brotherhood based on our family members, based on our neighbors, based on our small circle of people that we actually interact with. But as and when we start moving towards from the idea of body, we move towards different ideas. All the ideas that brother spoke about, whether it's a Kannadiga or we're Indian, or any of these things, they are all ideas that we relate to at the level of the mind, through which we actually relate to other people. We always relate to other people based on certain ideas that we carry in the mind. So as and when we actually align to different ideas in the mind, we go on expanding. But then each of these ideas has their own limitation. Now, when we kind of align to the basic source from where we have come, which is the center, then all ideas would have disappeared by then. You feel brotherhood from the universal perspective or from the source perspective, not because of the ideas that we carry in the mind. So, as we progress through the mind region, we actually progress in terms of the ideas through which we actually relate to the brotherhood. But when we go into the central region and align with the center, then from the center perspective, we got to realize that everything has actually come down from the same source. Now, if you read Babuji's books, he's talk about the I am Brahman, all is Brahman, all from Brahman. So, I am Brahman is the first stage, all is Brahman is the next stage, which was brother was talking about the different ideas through which we actually relate to others as the brothers. And the last one is all from Brahman. That's the highest state where we see that everything has actually come down from the same source, and that becomes the basis for us as to relate to others in terms of brotherhood. So even the idea of brotherhood that we carry, that we actually utter in the universal prayer or even in the point A meditation, all these things go on changing. Just one point before I forget, we get the feeling while doing universal prayer. I'll come to you, Shrikant brother. There is something about universal prayer and prayerful suggestion. Please do not confuse between these two. Okay? So universal prayer is different and prayerful suggestions are different. So universal prayer was something that Babaji brought about when he wrote the Voice Real. It's there in the second volume, I think, of Complete Works, the Voice Real book. And there he first started emphasizing about the need for universal prayer. Prayerful suggestions is something that Daji has actually brought into practice over the last few years. And you will be asked about the prayerful suggestions. And I think that has been shared in the 9-page document, if I remember. So it's a simple and straightforward question. What are the prayerful suggestions? Please state them. That will be the kind of question that will be asked to you. How the universal prayer also comes as a 2-mark question to you. When do you do the universal prayer, and what is the significance of it, and how do you do it? So again, pretty much straightforward questions will come as far as universal prayer is concerned. Okay. So I think
next is brother Ajitesh. Ajitesh was the next.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you for that explanation, Jeevan brother. Raghu brother, my again question is not regarding this chapter. It came this weekend when we were attending the Hope program. In the curriculum, it was written like from 5:30 to 6, we'll have group sitting. And when we were going there, when we went there at 5:30, everyone was saying, now let's have satsang. So that kind of brought a question in my mind, what is the difference between two? And can I meditating or being part of the satsang or the sitting identify it in a way?
Of course, if you are sensitive, I think you can identify it, but there is a fundamental difference between a group sitting and satsang. What is done in each of these sessions will be different. I think you have jumped a little further than where you are. I think once you come to the stage of getting trained in preceptor work, you will clearly see the difference between the two. As an Abhyasi,
Yeah.
of course, you can actually get to know about it. That depends on the sensitivity. You can definitely get to know about it.
Yeah, the question came from my tracking tracker. Where should I mark the X? So,
So you people are using the tracker,
yeah.
then
At least I
don't
have my.
mark the X. You put it a stick.
Yeah.
It should be fine. Not
Yeah.
okay. The fundamental work that is done during these two things are different. That is why it is given two different. So there is an individual sitting, there is a group individual sitting, and there is satsang. The work that is done is different. Okay. Now, this concept about the group individual sitting is not known to most of the Abhyasis. So when you come to that stage of training in preceptor work, you will get to know about it. Okay, so there are three things: individual sitting, group individual sitting, and satsang. Okay. So good to see that you people are now jumping ahead. Good. Manish?
Yeah. Namaste, brother.
Namaste.
Yeah. My question is related to yogic transmission. So, in that, I have read that so a guru of caliber is connected to the infinite source. So, with this connection to the infinite source, he is able to transmit the pranavati to all the abhyasis. Now, my doubt was like. At a at a given time, only Guru will be able to connect to the infinite source, and not the others. Or there may be multiple people connected to the infinite source. Is my doubt.
As you go through the hierarchy of spiritual journey, as in when you reach the highest, at any one point of time, there will be only one living guru who is connected to the source and who can do the transmission. It is through that source that we all get the transmission and we can utilize it for our work. So please remember, the living guru is the one who is connected to the source, and through him only we all get. At any point of time in this world, only one person is there at that particular point who can actually do that particular work. So this is in brief an answer to your question. There are a lot of aspects to that particular question, but this is in brief. It is the living master who is the one who is connected to the source, and at any point of time in the world, there will be only one who can do that, who is authorized to do that, so to say. And then everybody else will receive the transmission through him. And then, since the master, the living master, is connected to the ultimate source all the time, the transmission flows through him all the time. He doesn't need to actually consciously give any suggestion that let the transmission flow, nothing of that kind. It just flows through him automatically all the time. Any deserving heart at any point of time will actually get the benefit of the transmission. Okay? So don't be under the impression that Daji has to close his eyes and then say start meditation and then only the transmission flow. Nothing of that kind. Just his presence, even in the idea, is sufficient for the transmission to flow. That's the reason why, for many places where there are no preceptors, one of the alternatives that is given is that you will actually sit at 9 o'clock on the Friday for the meditation. And one of the things, this was Charji never used to sit for conducting these sittings at Friday 9 o'clock. And some people actually asked him, you say to everyone that you should sit at 9 o'clock for meditation on Fridays. for getting transmission for anybody who doesn't have any access to preceptors or anybody, but we never see you actually conducting any sittings. So why is this? So the Chariji said, you need to understand the way that masters work. Masters work through sankalpa. The moment they make a sankalpa, let this work occur at a particular time, it automatically happens. They don't need to sit like other abhyasis and close their eyes and then give a sitting, nothing of that kind. In fact, these are all the possibilities that you will also explore once you become preceptors. And that will be a kind of a game changer. As you get trained, there are so many aspects that you will learn of the work that you will be quite amazed about all the possibilities that is there. Okay. So that is actually spoken about it in quite a few of his talks about working in future. Can you set your, like we set an alarm, let the alarm ring at such and such a time in the next day morning. Can't we set actually a sankalpa that let this work occur on this particular person at this particular time and allow that to occur? All are possible. Why not? It's just about our own confidence and our own willpower and our own connection with the master that is actually necessary. Because I just said that the master is connected to the transmission. We all just receive the transmission through him only. Okay? Vidya sister?
Thank you.
Brother, it was a question where meditation is transformative and it brings transformative changes, but the cleaning brings about mutative changes. It's been given somewhere in one book. So, can you please differentiate between the two?
In fact, one of the questions that I had for you people to think about is how do the meditation, cleaning, and prayer impact one another? And that's a very important concept for you to have. In the later part of the talk today, brother mentioned about how we anticipate the bedtime prayer actually feeds into the early morning meditation. We read about it today. But it's not just about that. In fact, Daji used to say that if you want to deepen a spiritual depth at which a person meditates, cleaning is of very much value there. The more regularly the Abhyasi cleans, the more depth they can go into meditation. So these three things actually feed into one another. So one of the things I want you people to kind of just ponder on is how does meditation influence cleaning and prayer? How does cleaning influence meditation and prayer? How does the prayer influence the meditation and the cleaning? They all go as one compact package. So you cannot say one is better than the other or one is greater than the other. All the three are an essential part of the package. And the beauty is that as you grow spiritually, the relative importance of each of these things keeps changing. Initially, you might feel cleaning is very, very important and prayer and other things are okay. You will just do it routinely. Then at some point of time, you will feel meditation is more important, cleaning is secondary. So I'll do more meditation, I'll do less of cleaning and less of prayer. When you go to the highest state and then you actually go through the prayer and then you look at the prayer itself actually opening up. If you read the maxims about prayer, Babaji says that if you actually learn to do the prayer correctly, then every condition will just automatically open up just by prayer only. At that time, after you read that, no, you'll start feeling, oh, prayer is the most important thing. So even if I miss meditation, cleaning, it's all right. So it's a very dynamic journey. But what you need to understand as preceptors is how does each one affect the other two? And how does three put together work as a package? And that's very, very important. So that will be one of the questions for your pondering. And when you try to answer that question, your answer to your question that you ask now will automatically come into your mind. Okay? No problem, sister. Anusha?
Hello, brother. You have spoken about samskaras. The samskaras goes and we go subtler and subtler. Mostly the samskaras are removed in the Pint Pradesh. I want to understand about the tendencies which form like a riverbed. The samskaras and the tendencies. Samskaras, definitely we can go through the cleaning and it goes off. So how about modifying the tendencies which may occur again and again as the seeds of samskaras? So I just want to understand how the tendencies and samskaras play in our journey.
Tendencies and samskaras create the riverbed. We, as an individual practitioner, cannot get rid of the riverbed, the channels. It's not possible. Okay. What does our cleaning do? Our cleaning only reduces the flow of the water in the channels. That's all. It does not demolish the channels. The channels get demolished when you actually take sittings with the preceptors or with the master. So that's the reason why, if somebody were to say that I'm going to practice the meditation and the cleaning myself, and I'll not take any sittings, they will not make any substantial progress. So each of these components that we have got in terms of, there are three meditations. So you have the meditation by yourself, then you have the cleaning by yourself, then you have the sittings with the preceptors where the cleaning and other things are done during the sittings. Then you have the sittings, Sunday satsangs. Then you have the bhandaras and then sittings from the master. So each of these components play a different role in our life as far as our journey is concerned. So it's important to remember that individual cleaning will not actually demolish the riverbed. It's only in the sittings of the preceptors or the Bandara sittings that the channels can get demolished. Once the channel gets demolished, you will actually find it that even if the thought about the tendency that you had in the past comes to the mind, you will actually find it harder to implement it. That's a sign to you that the channel has been demolished. See, if the channel is still intact, the moment a thought comes, it automatically you will just go through that so fast that within a matter of 1 or 2 days, you're back to square one. It's like alcohol patients, they have left alcohol for say 1 or 2 years. And then after 2 years, for whatever reason, they start drinking. And within a matter of few days, they are at their peak drinking. Now, they might have taken years together, maybe 10 years, 15 years to reach that peak. But after restarting the drinking, within a week, they are at that peak again. Now, how is that possible? It is possible because the channels are still intact. They might have left alcohol. When they have left alcohol, all that's happened is the flow of the water in the riverbed has now come down. But the channel itself, or the riverbed itself, is still intact. How do we know that the channels have been demolished? So suppose the same person takes sittings. During the course of the sittings, the channels are all demolished over a period of time. So even if that person were to err in taking alcohol, they take a long time to go back to their early level of peaking in terms of alcohol drinking. I'm just giving a very simple example because it's that much easier to relate concretely. But then it's the same thing even at a mental health level, the mind level, the thoughts and the feelings and the habits or the tendencies that we get. So they all tend to come back very slowly. And the other beauty is that even with those thought comes, you now feel that you have fair degree of control over them. When the riverbed is very active, you feel that you don't have as much control. The moment the water flows automatically through the riverbed. So there is no question of any control. It is automatic. But when the channels are demolished, the kind of feeling that you will have is that you might get the thought, but you feel that you are in control of the thought. And you have a choice whether to act on it or not to act on it. And if you were to act on it also, you have a choice how to handle those thoughts. Because by that time, when the riverbeds have been cleaned off, the consciousness is far more clearer now. When the consciousness is far more clearer, you have very good discriminative ability. Now you can utilize that discriminative ability to handle the thought at the time when it occurs, or handle the thought after you have executed it, or handle the thought so that you can actually prepare for the future. Now that it's coming back, you know how to prepare for the future. So there are multiple possibilities that open up just because of the fact that the river bed has been demolished. In fact, I used to discuss with my liver doctors that whatever transplants you people do, you have to send every patient to our meditation. Because it's only in the meditation that these samskaras get clean and the channels are all demolished. So if a person has actually come to you for liver transplant because of alcohol liver disease, now you're only changing the liver, you're not changing the mind, nor you're changing the samskaras, you're not doing anything. We have seen that even after liver transplant, within 6 months or 1 year, they go back to drinking. Now, what's the point of the whole effort? So we keep discussing with me, saying that you send every patient, you send them to me, I'll give them the preceptor's number, let them all go to take sittings. In fact, that is going to actually fortify the effort that you people have put and the patients have put in getting liver transplant done. So it's a very interesting thing. Unfortunately, allopathy has not evolved to that level where we can work on deeper things which actually cause the illness. All illnesses are due to samskaras. Remember, there is no illness either in the soul or the consciousness. Then if somebody were to ask you where is the illness is coming from, it's all coming from samskaras. That's it. So that's why I gave you the question last time around. What are the ways in which you can handle the samskaras? The more the samskaras are removed from the system, the more the healing power in the consciousness manifests. Remember that. More the samskaras are removed, more the healing power manifests. And the healing power is inherently present in everyone. Okay, and we don't tap into it. Unfortunately, very few people, even among abhyasis, actually tap into it. There are a lot of things that you can do just with the healing power that is inherently present. See, suppose there is a cut on the body, it automatically heals. Do you think that you need to pay attention to it and do something about it? It automatically, even if you don't pay attention, it will heal. If you pay attention also, it will heal. Right? Now, where is this healing coming from? Is it coming from the band-aid that we put on the injury, or it is coming from inside? All of us know it's coming from inside only. The wound heals from within, not from outside. Likewise, the healing power is inherently present in the consciousness. Now, what does meditation do? Meditation gives you a possibility of tapping into that healing power. That is what meditation does. It doesn't matter what illness you've got. The healing power is the same for all the illnesses. It's just that how does the healing power work on a particular illness is differs depending on the pathophysiology of the illness. Otherwise, the healing power works across the board. It doesn't matter. So that is something that we all need to learn to tap into. So that is something that if you're open to experimentation, you can do all these things. Of course, being doctors and being looking at all these possibilities, we do experiment a lot. But some of these we cannot talk about because of some of the restrictions. See, the thing is, what we are practicing is a spiritual system. But spirituality and health go side by side. Whatever you do for the sake of health benefits spiritual journey. Whatever you do for spiritual journey benefits health. They are like two sides of the coin. You cannot separate one from the other. Now, very few people have actually recognized it, but I'm hoping that in due course of time, a lot more people will recognize and actually utilize this journey for their health also. Okay, but then we can have discussion regarding till what time or till what point of the journey we can utilize this for our health, beyond which you cannot utilize it for our health. I asked this question last time. You remember, why do we pray for master's long life and good health? So that means there is a particular realm when we go to, we cannot pray for ourselves. At that time, we require somebody else to pray for us. So that is also another stage that we reach. But till we reach that stage, we can obviously use the healing potency that is there in the consciousness for our own benefit. Why not? Okay. Okay.
Thank you, brother.
Girish, again, Girish has come with second question now. He wants to have a second round of batting. He was retired and now he's come back for the second round.
This is a daily reflection message actually. Meditation is all about making your consciousness a perfect mirror to see yourself. So, what exactly I want to know more about this?
When we say yourself, sir, you are the samskaras. You think that
To
yourself is
understand.
the sum total of the samskaras is what you think you are. Now, where are these samskaras, sir? These samskaras are actually in the consciousness. But the original you are apart from these two. So I hope you understand. The whole gamut, the sum total of the samskaras is what you think you are. The current identity that you have taken. The current persona or the personality that you have taken. That is nothing but the sum total of the samskaras that you carry. Now, where is the samskaras? The samskaras are actually on the mirror of the consciousness. Okay. Now, when we are going towards meditation, towards our true self, our original self, we can actually visualize both of these two things separately. And our ability to look at the consciousness and the ability to perceive the consciousness and also the samskara separately becomes better and better, more and more clearer as we progress in meditation. That is what it means. Consciousness is the mirror in which the samskaras get reflected. Okay? There are two ways in which you can actually look at the samskaras. Suppose there is a dirt on the mirror. Don't you think the mirror has the capacity to look at the dirt which is on itself? It can have it. But if the mirror is inert, it does not have the capacity. Somebody who is outside can actually look at the mirror also, the dirt also on the mirror.
Yeah.
And they can clean the mirror. That's exactly what happens when you come for sitting with the perceptors. They can look at the consciousness, they can look at the dirt on the consciousness, they clean the dirt on the mirror of the consciousness. That's all that happens. Now, what about our own self-reflection, self-introspection, these words that we use, self-reflection, self-introspection? What happens there? The self, the true self, which is apart from the false self and the consciousness, looks at these things and gives you an accurate feedback regarding what exactly is going on in terms of the samskaras, in terms of the consciousness, all these things. Now, it is the self which actually gives rise to the ability to perceive the conditions that manifest in the consciousness. When some part of the mirror is cleaned, that part appears clean, right? Suppose the whole of mirror is covered with dust. Suppose I clean one part of the mirror. That part now appears clean. Exactly the same thing occurs in meditation. When you come for sitting, one part of your consciousness is cleaned. When that part of the consciousness is cleaned, unlike a mirror, which cannot, because mirror does not have self-consciousness. So it cannot actually look at itself and feel what is the condition in that particular clean part of the mirror. But the consciousness that we have got has this ability to feel the conditions. So we can actually feel the conditions that is getting reflected in that part of the mirror which has been cleaned of the samskaras. That is what happens. So remember, there are two ways in which we can actually perceive the cleaning that is occurring. Our consciousness itself has what is called a self-consciousness. The consciousness has that component of the self embedded in it. That's why it is called a self-consciousness. That self-consciousness has this ability to perceive the changes that is occurring in terms of the samskaras. But apart from that, the true self also has the capacity to actually show what exactly is happening in the consciousness, what exactly is happening in the samskaras. So you have two ways of getting to know what is happening in the sittings. But these are all things which become more and more clearer as we go through to higher and higher states of experience. Okay, I've just given you some. We use the word lot of this self, self, and all. So many times we don't know what self we are talking about. There is this lower self, there is this higher self, then there is the supreme self, there is this false self, there is the original self, there is the false self, and there is the true self. So there are too many selves, and that's why we all become selfish. There are too many selves. Now we have to gradually let go of too many selves and align to one particular self. And that is our spiritual journey. Becoming aligned to one particular concept or one particular idea is the journey in spirituality. When We align to one particular idea, all other ideas then becomes only relative to that particular idea. Then it becomes easier and easier to grasp it.
Okay.
Okay.
Little bit understood actually, not completely.
Not to worry. We will draw a diagram and show what exactly happens inside. Nothing much. Remember, there is this mirror. On the mirror, there is a dirt. Right? You are separate from the mirror. You are not the mirror. You are separate from the mirror. Right? So when you see that the dirt is actually on the mirror, you can easily clean. That's exactly what happens when you come for sittings. You are apart from the mirror and the dirt. You are neither the mirror nor the dirt. You are apart from both. Okay? Prachi?
Okay. Yeah, namaste, brother. So, brother, my question is, I mean, I may be not very clear with the terms, but my question is that, say, when we say that soul has reached the brighter world, it's away from this topic, but when we say that, okay, say, soul has reached a brighter world. Now, when I'm listening more about consciousness, so is it that that our consciousness ever reaches there, or it is only soul that goes to brighter world?
You need to understand the relationship between soul and consciousness. Then this issue will get solved itself.
Okay.
What is your understanding about soul and consciousness?
So yeah, brother. So like we have three bodies. So soul is one of it, and
Don't worry about the bodies. I just asked one
okay.
simple, straightforward question. Soul and consciousness, what is the relationship?
Okay, consciousness is something which is, I mean, uh, where mind is, like we say that mind is part of it, but soul is different. It's soul. I mean, I don't know how, at this point. I haven't reached that chapter yet, but
I'll
yeah.
just give you a very simple example.
Mhm.
Soul is like the torch. When you turn the torch on, you get a light, right? So the light which is emanating from the torch is the consciousness. Very simple, easy remember. So the rays which are radiating from the soul actually gives rise to light, and that light is what is called as the consciousness. So as we go higher and higher into the consciousness, we go more and more closer towards the soul. Ultimately, we reach that realm of the soul which is beyond the consciousness. That's all that happens. It's about like you have the light, you are at the periphery of the light. You turn on the torchlight, you have the periphery of the light, and you travel through that periphery of the light. You go more and more towards the torch. As in you go more and more towards the torch, you have more and more brighter light. And then eventually you cross that light, and then when you actually enter on top of the torch, is it light or dark there?
It is yeah, light only. I mean, but yeah, you can't
Now
see
you
that.
go and do this experiment and tell me next time.
We can't see the
Uh,
torch.
yeah,
Once you cross
yeah.
over the light that is emanating from the torch and you sit on top of the torch, is it light or
We
dark?
can't.
Don't tell me that I've turned this tube light on, that's why it is light.
No, no, I got it. Yeah,
You got the
it's
point?
yes,
So
brother.
you enter into say a particular realm which is beyond the light. That's why we say we go beyond the light, beyond the darkness. The light is in the realm of the consciousness. Once you cross the realm of the consciousness, you enter into the realm of the darkness. Then our journey is not finished in that darkness also. We have to go beyond that darkness also to reach the reality. So that's why we say that we have to cross the light and we have to cross the darkness and then we reach the ultimate state. So sometimes we also use the word ignorance for darkness, right? We see that ignorance is darkness and knowledge is light. But then once you cross into the central region, there is no knowledge also there. What are you going to do there? Again, you are back with darkness only. Then you have to go beyond that also to enter into that stage. We will discuss about it when we cover the chapter on knowledge in the complete works. Okay, you start with ignorance, then you have a phase of knowledge, then you end up with supreme ignorance. You don't end up with high level knowledge, you end up in supreme ignorance, which contains all the potentialities of all the knowledge put together. But if you ask what knowledge is there, there is no knowledge, but all the potentiality of the knowledge is embedded there, but appears supremely ignorant. That is the state that we reach in the end. Okay.
And we call it ignorance. Okay.
It's called as complete ignorance or superior ignorance or higher level of ignorance. You can call it any particular term.
Okay.
But it's also called as non-knowing knowing.
Okay.
So it's all
Sure, brother.
relative words, but all that I want you to understand is that the soul is from where the light emanates, and the light is the consciousness. Once you cross over the light, then you reach the soul. All that you will see there is ignorance. It's like crossing on top of the torch. In front of the torch, there is light. But once you are in the realm of the torch itself, there is no light there. Then you have to go and inside the torch and see how the light itself is actually formed. Then you have to go inside and see, look at the two batteries, whether the batteries are working, what is the switch is working. All these things you'll have to look at.
Sure.
So that's the
Thank you,
easiest
brother.
way to remember. Even the journey also will become easy if you have this kind of just a simple idea in your mind. How do you move journey from first point to the second point to the third point? What exactly happens? All these things becomes very easy. Okay.
Sure, brother.
So
Thank you.
furthermore, in due course, we can discuss. So now I want you to do the torch experiment and let me know.
Sure, brother.
Okay. Satyanarayana.
Good night, sir. Sir, this may be a very simple question. I wanted this clarification. In my understanding, these samskaras are in the subconscious level, and impressions will be superficial, if I am correct. So I wanted to know the difference, sir.
What did the book say? In the cleaning chapter, you read about it. The samskaras are called as impressions, no?
Yeah, impressions. Yes. Difference
Then
between
why are you
impressions.
differentiating between samskaras and impressions?
One and the same.
Definitely, samskaras always contain the impressions. In fact, samskaras contains impressions and the reaction of your mind, both put together. Both are there. There is the impression. For example, if you just take the same example, you might see a beautiful rose flower in the garden. Now that attracts your attention. So what you take in is the impression of the rose flower. And there is a reaction in your mind. How beautiful is the flower? So both together actually form the samskaras. When you are established in the state of awareness and there is no reaction to anything, you don't form samskaras. At the level of awareness, that's exactly what we learn in meditation. We start with attention and we learn to be at the level of awareness. When we are at the level of awareness, we don't form much samskaras. So for example, you journey from Mysore to Bangalore and you see so many things that passes through your awareness. How many things you actually recall of those things that passes through? But somebody actually came suddenly in front of you. And suddenly your attention focuses on that person who came in front. Then if you ask somebody who were to ask you about that incident, immediately you will recall. But say no untoward incident occurs and you did not see any special pictures or visuals as you pass from Mysore to Bangalore. If that is the case, what is it that you remember? You will just say the journey was uneventful. Likewise, the journey in the life will be uneventful with no samskara formation. You would have passed through the entire life with no samskara formation. It is uneventful. When we start paying specific attention to specific things for whatever duration of time, life becomes very eventful. Spirituality will make your life eventfully uneventful. That is what it does. Okay, it is totally uneventful because the moment you actually go from the level of awareness to the existence, the entire life becomes uneventful. But for other people, life appears very eventful. But the person who is going through the spiritual journey, for them it is uneventful. It is just a natural process that they go through. That's why we spoke about this incident. You remember last week's the plane accident. That's why I said, from a nature's perspective, from a higher spiritual realm, there is nothing called as accident. Everything is just an incident. That's it. So, from a spiritual, for a person who's evolved to that level, it is just another incident that that particular soul has to pass through. And the future of that soul is already marked. What needs to happen to that soul is automatically taken care of. But for a person who's actually stuck at a certain time level, it means that there's this accident that happened, and in that accident, all these things happened. Now, look at all the media things that the people focus on. How many days does the media focuses on all these kinds of incidents? Every week, you have so many incidents occurring, so many accidents occurring. How many days do they focus on? They focus on it for a few days. After that, they get one more new incident. They focus on that incident now. So they just keep moving on. But the people who are affected by it, people who actually are stuck with it, will always say that you have to tend to forget all the difficult phases that you've had in life. You don't want to hold on to it and then recall all the time, because otherwise the future possibility will not open up. So, irrespective of the kind of experience a person passes through, they have to learn to let go of it and move forward in life. That's exactly what we do in meditation. That's exactly what we learn in meditation. That we learn to move forward in meditation. Okay? She knows.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It's regarding cleaning, brother. Normal evening cleaning, we say the impressions or the impurities or grossness are leaving from the bank in the form of smoke. Whereas in the point B cleaning, we say it is leaving from the front, but we don't say it in the form of smoke or something. Why, brother?
There are 2-3 possibilities for that. Nowhere it has been clarified regarding why you do a particular thing from the front, why you do a particular thing from the back.
Yeah.
Okay. Just common sense would dictate that you would clean the samskaras, whichever is the nearest exit, that is where you clean from. Is that right? Whichever is the nearest exit. If the samskaras are actually gone behind towards the back,
Yeah.
it's better to clean them from the back. If the samskaras are still there in the front, it's better to clean them from the front.
Okay.
Right? Now,
You don't have to burn it to see that it leaves the system as a smoke.
what is the suggestion that you people give in the
No,
morning?
in the morning, that's what the impressions or the impurities are leaving from the front. And the soul appears, glow of the soul appears from behind.
So there are two components to it.
Okay.
Now, the human, have you ever wondered why do we do it in the morning? Why not in the evening?
No, I have not.
Now just think about it.
Okay.
Why is it we do it in the morning? Why not in the evening? Point B cleaning is always advised in the early morning.
To be done first thing in the morning before meditation.
Correct. For a few minutes. And it should
Yeah.
not be overdone.
Yeah, it
Why
should
is
be for
that?
5 to 7 minutes. Yeah.
Why is that it's done only in the morning? We don't advise point B cleaning at any point of time.
Yes.
We don't do it in the morning. We don't advise you to do in the afternoon or evening, anything like that kind. We only advise you to do in the morning. Why is that?
I have not contemplated on that. Yeah.
Now that you have asked this question, please contemplate. We'll talk about it next time around. Why is that we do the morning only in the morning? The point B cleaning in the morning.
Okay.
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 It also gives rise to a question regarding where are the points situated?
Mm.
And once these samskaras are actually formed, how do they actually travel through the course of the system, our system? These are two questions that is also fundamentally, which comes automatically in association with your question. Where are the points situated? Are they situated in the front or the back? Because we have a chest cavity, right? There's a volume there. So are they situated in the front or the back? And then if it's situated in the front, then how to make use of that? If it's situated in the back, how to make use of that? See, remember, when we do the evening cleaning, we don't look at any points.
Correct. We don't look at, yes. It's
Right?
from the
We
entire
just say
back
that
cleaning.
entire back, we say that it is going out. That being the case, it is not necessarily related to any particular points.
Okay.
Right? So that will give you some clue regarding why the cleaning of this point B is actually done through the front. That's one thing. Second thing is why early morning is something that you need to ponder about. I don't know how many doctors are there in this system. The doctors might actually give you some clue. So there is a medical reason for that.
Yes, brother. I think you gave that reason some time back, saying that in the early mornings our hormones will be more active, and that is the reason we have to do point B cleaning in the morning, because our hormones will be more active, and they play the role. Uh, that I think you only gave, brother, some time back in some session.
So there is a biological reason for it. All the hormones tend to kick in around 4:30 in the morning. That's the time when most of the hormones kick into the system. In fact, the hormones prepare your body for you to wake up. Even before you wake up, your hormones prepare your body so that you are ready for action once you wake up. That's what exactly happens. Thus, essential thoughts gradually tend to take hold of the system in the early morning. In fact, if you just look at it from a slightly biological perspective, um, early morning, there are a lot of sensual thoughts. In fact, that is one of the reasons why, if a person comes with any of these difficulties in their fertility issues, that's one of the aspects of the history that we take in medical. Are they able to experience the presence of the sensual thoughts during the early morning compared to the rest of the time? When they are able to experience the sensual thoughts in the early morning, that means that the biological system is working fine. But there is some other psychological mechanism which is actually impacting in the expression of that biological system. That is what is happening. Okay. So that being the case, the early morning hormones gives rise to a lot more sensual thoughts. And those sensual thoughts are actually very active during the early morning. It is for that particular reason that you actually clean the B point in the early morning before the first meditation. And we don't advise the cleaning of it after that, because after that what happens, it has now taken hold of the system. In the early morning, it is still kind of taking hold of the system. It's not yet fully taken hold of the system. It becomes embedded, so to say. But in the early morning, you are like just getting that thoughts because the hormones have started kicking, raising in the blood. So when it's still not yet taken on hold of the system, it becomes that much easier to clean through point B. Once it is kind of taken hold of the system, it becomes inaccessible, so to say. It's almost like if somebody has taken a poison, we just give some things to make them vomit. It has not gone and become part of the system. But once it becomes part of the system, then the way that we are going to treat it will be different.
Okay.
Right? Very similar. So in the early morning, you have the essential thoughts which are actually triggered by the hormones which are released into the bloodstream. So that becomes easier to clean it off at that level before it takes hold of the system. In the evening, when you do the cleaning, even these thoughts also get cleaned. But we don't specifically focus on these particular thoughts. Okay?
Okay. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Jay? Jay? Are you there? It's coming up to 10:30. I think he might have slept off. He's raised his hand and now gone. Jay, are you there? Okay. Ashwini?
Brother, I'll do my meditation at 12 o'clock in the noon because I like that meditation. So I was doing the point B before that and then meditating because I thought it is like, we have to do the point B before meditation. So that's not needed then.
No.
Okay. So
If you're doing meditation in the early morning, that's when you do the point B cleaning, not at other times.
Okay, got it.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, pa. So I think Jay has lowered his hand. Somehow he did not come through. Okay. So you people are very, very active and going to more and more. Piyush come back. Karthik has come back for second innings.
Brother,
Very good
just
evening, brother. I'm so sorry.
1 minute, 1 minute. Karthik?
Yeah, I'm so sorry, brother.
It's all right.
It may sound stupid, but I'm very sorry. But yeah, point B, meditation. Early morning, you get up and you do. But after that, immediately it is necessary that you do meditation, or you can take a break and do meditation, or you can give some gap and then do meditation, something
See,
like that.
remember one thing. While doing the point B cleaning, you've already gone into some depth of yourself.
Yes, yes.
So it becomes that much easier to just slip into meditation.
Slip into meditation, correct.
If you actually give a gap, what happens is the mind's direction is now directed elsewhere. The attention
Correct.
starts going outwards. So
Okay.
then it will take a bit more longer for you to settle into meditation. That's the only thing.
Okay.
So it's always better to just do that 3 to 5 minutes and then just slip into meditation. It's that much easy.
Yes, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, brother.
Piyush?
Again, related to that, what Sister Ashwini asked, in such a case, does one need to do the point B cleaning irrespective of what time? Suppose someone does the meditation later. So does one need to do that practice? Because I think this is one of the important practices. As soon as one gets up.
Not necessary at other times. And impact of that also will be less if you do it at other times.
No, I mean in the morning. Morning you do point B meditation, and then whatever is your schedule for meditation later.
Morning. You can do the point B cleaning if you're not able to get up at 4:30 or 5 o'clock. If you're doing the meditation, let's say at 7:30, you can just still do the point B meditation and then do it. The further away from the morning that you do the point B cleaning, the lesser will be the impact or the benefit of the process. That's all it is.
Okay, I'm sorry to repeat, but can there be a gap between the point B cleaning and the meditation?
Better not to have a gap.
Okay.
Because your mind is again directed outwards, and then it's going to take a lot more time for you to get back into the state of meditation. So it's always better to just do it immediately.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Jay? I think those people who are asking questions, you need to turn on your video settings so that we can see your face also and your reaction. Jay?
This is Srinivas, sir. I'm Sri.
No problem. Jay? Again, Jay has raised a hand, but not there. Ajitesh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just while you were saying this, I just had another thought. Could it also be that when we are cleaning point B, like now there is a vacuum, right? Like it's a very rudimentary statement, but something else, dirt might come in. So we meditate over that. So that is also kind of avoided.
Definitely. Every time we create a vacuum, it's always good to go for meditation. Whenever we feel the vacuum. Suppose you create vacuum after prayer and you feel that, in fact, whatever you read about today, remember one thing, you don't leave meditation for half an hour, 1 hour. But if you can spiritualize the entire night's sleep, and if you're sleeping for 8 hours, just imagine how much benefit you will get in terms of your journey, how much it will actually catalyze your journey. So if you look at it from this perspective, prayer actually becomes of fundamental importance because it can actually be very, very transformative, very quickly transformative if the prayer is done appropriately at the right time, and then no other thought is allowed to come into the system after the prayer is done, and then you go into sleep. It is going to spiritualize the entire sleep. It's almost like you utter the prayer the last thing in the night before you go to sleep, then you utter the prayer the first thing in the morning. You are like bracketing the entire sleep with the prayer. And that entire sleep now has such a positive impact on your spiritual journey because you have spiritualized the entire sleep. Now, when you are spiritualizing the entire sleep, you are actually spiritualizing the entire subconscious. That's all that happens. Because where are you in the sleep, in deep sleep? You are there at the depth of your own consciousness, at the subconscious level. So, when you can spiritualize the entire subconscious level, what happens is the hold of the samskaras on the system actually gradually decreases. When the hold on the samskaras decreases, it actually catalyzes your journey left, right, center. much more than many other things that you do. So that's why I said, as we progress higher and higher in spirituality, the relative importance of each of these practices keep changing in our mind. So we keep evolving. And we will actually work out what works best for us. So some people might actually use more of prayer, less of meditation, less of cleaning. Some people might use more of meditation, less of prayer, less of cleaning. But then again, the relative importance keeps changing depending on the set of circumstances that we face in life. Okay. So Ashwini sister.
Brother, point A and B, it was mentioned that, it is on the super conscious, it will help us to increase the super conscious level. So how is it, point B and point A related to the super conscious?
That you will understand when we read the Complete Works Volume 1, Efficacy of Raja Yoga. That is just mentions about it in the heartfulness way. But when we read the Efficacy of Raja Yoga book, there you will understand how are they related to the super consciousness. So please remind me when we come there. Jay has raised the hand third time. I don't know whether he wants to ask the question or he wants to show that he's still there. Jay, are you there? Okay. Minal Patil, go ahead.
Yeah. So, brother, again, it's related to point B. So sometimes, like, we don't have time in the morning for the meditation, and I mostly sometimes I'm just finishing the point B cleaning, and I'm just starting with the housework chore. So in that case, shall we do it or shall we skip that also then?
To the extent that you are doing it, you are getting some satisfaction, you can continue to do it. But we are only talking about what is the best way of practicing the point B meditation. So my suggestion is you're only doing it for 5-10 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. After that, at least sit for 10 minutes meditation. What are you going to lose? After that, you more do once more meditation. You get up 10 minutes. You get up 10 minutes early. Don't be my daughter. Whenever I wake her up, no, she'll say 5 minutes and put the blanket again. So don't be like that. Where the youngsters keep pulling their blanket every time we say 1 minute sleep. They don't want to lose even 1 minute of sleep. So they say 2 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes. They'll never get up. A half an hour would have passed, 1 hour would have passed. Again, they'll tell the same thing. So these are all minor aspects of the tendencies of the mind or the way that the mind is trained. I think if you can train the mind, you do the cleaning for about 3 to 4 minutes. After that, sit for meditation for 10 minutes. After that, go to your household work. It's just a question of 10 minutes here and there. Because then you will actually get more benefit out of the practice that you are doing. See, we should do the practice in such a way that we get more benefit out of it, no? We should never do the practice in such a way just for the sake of doing it, but not getting the full benefit out of it. That's like you going to the work and not getting paid for it. Why do you want to do it? If somebody were to say that I'm not going to pay for you, are you going to go to the work? You will say, no, I don't want to come to your work. But then now you are happy to go to the work and not get paid. Why do you want to do it? Right? So just think about it. So my suggestion is get up 10 minutes early, do meditation for 10 minutes. After that, you have the second session of meditation.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Jai? Oh, we are not doing any tracking, brother. I think Ajitesh is doing tracking of himself. There was a
What is the
tracker that
tracking,
we
brother?
developed. No, there was a tracker that we developed in the SNP 1, but we have not actually given you this time around. So not to worry. We are just telling you that you do all these things, processes regularly. That's all we are saying. But we are not actually given you a tracker. But that was there for SNP 1. But then after that, we did not insist on that particular tracker. Okay. PKB. I think PKB is the one, no, who actually always insists on recording something.
Sorry, brother, I'm not the one.
You are not the one. Okay. I think there's one person who, the moment we turn on the system, immediately I get a message. Turn on the recording.
Okay, brother, this is
brother, that
regarding
is
that golden liquid cleaning, brother. What is that and when to do, or should it be done on a daily basis?
1 minute. See, whatever you are going to be asked about is this point was clarified with Daji about the necessity of using the golden liquid technique for cleaning. And Daji's answer was 99.9% of the cleaning needs what the cleaning is supposed to be done. The routine cleaning is sufficient. It's only in exceptional cases that they have been asked to use the golden liquid technique. So my suggestion is not to worry too much about the golden liquid technique. Okay. That being the case, don't they might ask you for 1 mark question. What is this golden liquid technique? So that is already given. I think I'm not sure. It's already given in the 9-page document for you. Is it mentioned in the 9-page document in the cleaning?
The golden liquid is not mentioned.
No, no, sir.
That is the reasons. See, the 9-page document that has been given to you is the fundamental practices that you are expected to know. There are two things which are not mentioned there. One is the golden liquid technique, and the second one is the vestibules. Now, I'm not sure how many abhyasis are actually exposed to the term vestibules, but that's also another technique which was described a few years back. But that's also something that probably is known in the perceptor community rather than in the abhyasi community. Okay, both those things are not likely to be part of your routine practice, so not to worry too much about it. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
It was described for some period of time, for a few months, around 4 or 5 years back. But after that, we have not actually heard too much about the discussion on the golden liquid technique for cleaning. So not to worry about it. There's only 1 or 2 additional steps apart from the normal routine cleaning. If you can actually know the routine cleaning regularly, I think that is sufficient for you. And common mistake that people do when they write about the cleaning and why they miss out on the marks is that they forget to mention about the sankalpa at the start of the cleaning and the sankalpa at the end of the cleaning. Now this is a very, very important step. Now if you miss out on these two sankalpas, you will easily lose 2 marks. You might have written everything else correctly, but since you have actually not written about these two sankalpas, they will cut 2 marks straight away. So it's a very, very essential part of the practice that you are expected to write correctly. Okay. So Jay, sister or brother? Okay. Okay, it's coming up to 10:40 now. Thanks for all your time and inquisitive questions. We can go on and on. There are a lot of things even we want to discuss with you. One point I clarified about the universal prayer and the prayerful suggestions. Prayerful suggestions is a simple, straightforward question that you will get. What are the 3 prayerful suggestions? Please write about them. Okay. How does the prayerful suggestion actually manifest in life? We will just say, for example, one of the prayerful suggestions that you talk about is the correct thinking, right understanding, and honest approach to life. If somebody were to ask you, when do these manifest? Of course, you are talking about it, but when does it actually manifest in our life? So that's something that you need to ponder about to get a deeper level of understanding about that. So uttering the prayerful suggestions is one thing, but actually experiencing those conditions that are there in the prayerful suggestions and being impactful on others is a different thing altogether. So as part of the learning in the prayer, because the prayer chapter is now over, as part of the learning in the prayer, we want you to ponder about when do these prayerful suggestions actually manifest in our system? At what points? So please think about it. Okay. So with that last question, I think we can take leave now. 10:40. Everyone is now saying that Tata Babe, I'm going to sleep now. So before we start hearing the snoring sounds, we can end the sessions. Okay. No problem. Thank you for your time. Okay. Namaste then. Good night to all.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother. Good night. Thank you.